Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance, and we're joined today by Alex Johnson. He is the Executive Director of the Children's Defense Fund California, as well as a member of the Los Angeles County Board of Education. Recently, the CDF California had its annual gala, we'll call it, its Beat the Odds Awards. And the CDF continues to look at trauma and pulling children out of the cycle and the effects of trauma.
Yes.
You awarded 5 students. Tell us about those 5 if you can. Give us a sense of how they beat trauma.
So David Sanchez, David Cho, Natasha Denson,
Stephanie Camino,
Vincent Zamaria. Were our 5 honorees,
Right.
and these young people have essentially overcome just tremendous adversity, whether
Right.
it's sexual abuse, whether it's in and out of foster care, whether it's going through a transition from female to
Right.
male. They've overcome bullying, they've overcome adversity, they've overcome fear, they've overcome wanting to be accepted to succeed in life and to grow into their own beings as young people.
But at the age of 17, and that's where most of these
Yes.
folks are, they're seniors in high school. I mean, you're barely able to kind of get a sense of self,
Yeah.
let alone deal with trauma that may have been pervasive in your background.
Yeah. So these young people have been lucky. I mean, they've been the fortunate few who've had not just Children's Defense Fund California, but also school counselors, some teachers, and family members or others who have been able to envelop them with love, with care,
Right.
and to help them succeed.
I want to ask you specifically about one of the students, and that student is David Sanchez,
Yes.
and I'll explain why. So a few of the others who were awarded were in and out of foster care, and that presents obvious traumatic consequences. David's situation is different. His trauma was the cycle of poverty, which is hard to touch. It's hard to explain why the cycle of poverty can be traumatic.
David went through and has gone through living on $22,000 a year.
His
and
family.
His family,
And
which
which could-
11,
right.
11, 11 people in his family,
Right.
which is essentially $5 a day. And as David explains, it's the price of a latte at Starbucks. His dad is a farm worker and does labor, is absent from the family because he's working and trying to provide for his family. So David has stepped into the role as a primary male with the support of a few others, Uncle Miguel and others. But he has had to really lose part of his childhood and step into adulthood at a very early age. Fortunately, he's a calm, he's a rational, he's a sensible young man who is poised and who nothing really seems to impact him viscerally.
In a healthy way?
In a healthy way, and I think he has a care and love of adults. He has a very caring family, and he stepped into the role and he's taken it on.
And David, as well as the other 4 students, were very lucky to be connected to CDF California for a variety of reasons, but including scholarship.
Correct. So they each get $10,000, and
That's for real.
That's real money.
Yeah.
But they also are getting, with a partnership that we have with the Fulfillment Fund, they're also being able to have academic support to make sure that they not only get into college, that they persist in college, that they graduate.
Do we know where any of these folks are going to go yet? It's early.
They're still applying.
it's okay.
A lot of Cal States,
Nothing wrong with that.
a lot of UCs, some private colleges.
Right.
But the bottom line is they're all going to college.
And over the past 25 years, Beat the Odds has really impacted so many youth. 85 college graduates through 2015. It goes on and on.
178 total have gone through the program. 85 have graduated. We still have a number who are in college, many who are going to grad school. They're all productive students who are living out their lives.
I want to get a sense, how did these students connect to CDF? Because I have known CDF for many years, but I didn't realize that you can actually, as a kid, connect up.
So we announce every year our scholarship program. You can go to www.cdfca.org. Last year we had about 400 applicants, and we selected 5 finalists, 10 in total. But we recruit and we go out to schools, and we do it primarily in the Los Angeles region to make sure that we're connecting with young people to get them involved in this program, give them this opportunity.
And so what has it meant to you as the executive director in California to be able to look at these 5 and know that you've put them on a real beneficial path?
Life-changing. The 2 Davids, David Sanchez, David Show, for our gala that we recently had, I went suit shopping with them. And as a young man who had a father in his life who was able to do that for him at an early age, but to take them in their high school years, suit shopping, and buy their first suit and have it tailored and to fit it, just stuck with me. And it's like, okay, making a difference in the lives of young men.
Turn to you as an expert in trauma and ask you about the situation in San Bernardino. So as you know, many students, in fact, the entire San Bernardino school district was put on lockdown. And whether a student knew or didn't know someone that was impacted, the mere fact of being put on lockdown is traumatic. And then, it's a fairly tight-knit community. My guess is many of the students probably knew someone or knew someone who knew someone that was impacted. Explain how your expertise in trauma care and in trauma-informed care can help those that may be impacted by a situation like San Bernardino.
Well, I would say that the first thing and the best thing is that those young people and those school districts, the school districts which those young people are attending, counselors are necessary. And
what
adults.
Does that look like? I mean, because let me explain. I'm going to reveal something. When I was in 10th grade, a close friend of mine committed suicide. She was in 12th grade. They had, one counseling session 3 weeks later, and it was solely and wholly ineffective. So what does counselors mean?
I mean, I think students just need to have an opportunity, someone to talk to. And, one of the best things are peer counselors in many ways. Having an opportunity to just vent to someone who is your peer, who's your age, who's, although they've been trained, can talk to you and can relate to you. But I think having an opportunity for if a young person is feeling particularly impacted by the victimization of one of their friends or someone they knew, they need to let it out. And one of the worst things that can happen, which happens to a lot of our young people, that they keep it inside.
So that means the counselors need to be more than one-time attendees?
I think it definitely needs to be more than one-time attendees, but it's on a case-by-case basis. Some instances are more severe than others. I think in an instance like San Bernardino, just having the option, the ability to reach out and talk to someone is important. And I think students also need to know, look, we are living in an age where mass shootings, 355 across the nation this year alone. We're living in fear, and students need to be able to understand how to navigate and how to
how do we talk to them as parents, let's say, about that?
I think we just have to tell them that, number one, they need to be vigilant, and if they see signs of one of their friends, they need to talk and tell someone what they're seeing.
They're not a narc.
They're not.
His name is Alex Johnson. He is the executive director of the Children's Defense Fund in California, also a member of the Los Angeles County Board of Education. I'm Brad Pomerance. Stay safe. It's Charter Local Edition.